This video will cover how you can enhance the metadata attached to your OSF projects and its files. There are two main reasons you should care about your project's metadata, especially if you're sharing research data. First, metadata can promote the discoverability of your data, making it more likely to be reused and cited, and thus increasing your impact as a researcher. Additionally, federal funders already require robust metadata, or will be in the near future. The Office of Science and Technology Policy has recently directed federal agencies to update their policies to promote research access and discoverability, including requiring researchers to describe their research outputs with meaningful metadata. While OSF fills in some metadata categories by default, some important ones need to be entered manually. To view your project's metadata, click the Metadata tab in the navigation bar. When sharing your project publicly, be sure to fill in the following categories at a minimum. First, give your project a description. This could be an adapted version of your research abstract or an indication that this project includes supporting data for another publication. Then, list all contributors on your project. Clicking the pencil icon here will take you to the contributors page. Ideally, you will list everyone who helped author the data in your project, not just those who are responsible for uploading the data to OSF. If they do not have OSF accounts, you can add them as unregistered contributors, and they can then claim an account if they wish. Next, you'll want to select a resource type for your project. If sharing research data, you can select Dataset from this drop-down menu. Otherwise, select the most appropriate description of your project. These options come from the DataCite schema of resource types, so they may not perfectly map to the contents of your project. For resource language, only one language may be listed here, so select the predominant language of your project. You can assign individual languages to individual files at a later point. Next, add funder or supporting information. Click Add Funder, choose your funder, and then begin typing in the name of your funder to have it pull up from this drop-down menu. Then, include the award name, URI or Uniform Resource Identifier, and award number if applicable. OSF pulls its list of funders from the Crossref Open Funder Registry. So if you do not see your funder's name come up when you search for it, try searching for it on Crossref in case it is listed under a slightly different name. You can also include multiple funders if needed. There are two final categories of editable metadata that can only be edited from the project overview page. The first of these is your project license, which tells others how they are allowed to reuse your data. See the video on research data sharing for an explanation of some different license options. Additionally, your project can have tags, which can help enhance the discoverability of your project by having it appear in searches for that tag or related terms. To add a tag, just start typing its name and then hit enter. There are a few metadata fields that you cannot overwrite. The date created and date modified fields are auto-populated, and the affiliated institutions are set at the time of project creation. In order to affiliate your project with your research institution, you must be logged in via your institution and select it at the time that you create your project. In addition to these fields for project-level metadata, you can also include metadata for individual files. To do so, first click on the file name. You will see the project's metadata on the right-hand side of your screen, but you also have the option of adding file metadata by clicking on this pencil icon. There are fewer categories here than for your project as a whole, but you can include a title, description, resource type, and resource language that are unique to the file. This is useful for distinguishing files if your project contains multiple types of content, such as both datasets and documentation. Although it's not editable, there's one final piece of metadata that's useful to know about. Every project and file on OSF includes a URL that is a globally unique identifier, or GUID, which makes it easy to share links to your projects or to specific files with others. In the case of a file GUID, the URL will always go to that specific file, even if it is moved to a new place in your folder structure or if you upload a new version. Since OSF does not allow creating a DOI for an individual file, you can leverage file GUIDs instead. For example, if you need to direct a user to an individual file in your project, copy the GUID for that file directly, rather than providing a link to the project as a whole. The depth and detail of the metadata you include for an OSF project will vary depending on your use case. But for any project you share publicly, it's a good idea to review the metadata and see how it can be enhanced.